our topic today is on wines that people overorder, require, need. Obviously, we will start with you. What do you find for consumers are wines that you are just like tired of and people need to get away from, or are overordered?
It's hard to say because for us, because we have such a large selection of wine. But I mean, honestly, like, and you'll say it just sounds like a very diplomatic answer, but it's the truth. I try to have what people want available, and we do have such a large selection here, and even by the glass, like we pour Pinot Grigio by the glass. Like, I can say that I'm over Pinot Grigio, but why? What's the point? All I'm going to do is offend somebody who likes Pinot Grigio. So I think, even though I won't spend, my Saturday afternoons drinking Pinot Grigio, people actually like those wines. So it's okay for me to have it, And I think at some point it almost kind of helps to smooth over the issue as a whole. And my waiters are I think good about recommending wines that make sense, and people who are looking at being adventurous outside of the realm of something like Pinot Grigio or New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, maybe wines that have peaked with trends or have now become staples, but maybe are not the wines that more whatever like wine hipsters are drinking. Like, they're not wines from the Jura or from the Loire Valley. There's a bridge and there's a conversation that can occur. And I think if you alienate people, you don't give the opportunity to have that.
Do you find that you have to balance your list with like what people want versus what you want to serve them, or do you try and make it all work together?
Well, we have kind of a different situation in here. We have a much smaller list. When Polo and Jeremy, our other partner and the beverage director, when we got together, we'd already been tasting a lot of wine, but we always knew we wanted to have a very edited 30 to 40 whites, 30 to 40 reds, a few sparkling, and a little bit of rosé. When you're editing, when you're working with a list that is that small, you do have to. I do agree a lot with what he said, and it's that it's really important to have varietals that you can. First of all, you have to train your staff correctly to where they can create and engage a conversation with the guests at the table, because it is all about the conversation and really engaging the guest. And maybe they do want a Pinot Gris, but maybe you have another varietal that plays off a lot of similar bodies and the texture and the flavor profile. And when the guest does request that, you can say, oh, well, we do offer this by the glass, but we also have this other fabulous blank. It's from here, and we're doing this, and it is very similar, and it might be something you want to try. Giving the guest that option, so it's kind of interesting. It's almost like you can know that having a Pinot Grigio on by the glass is fine, and you do need to have varietals like that, especially by the glass, that people can just go to and stay in their comfort zone. That's totally cool. But then it would be great also to have your staff trained to where they can then suggest different varietals that have similar, that can allow the guests to stay within their comfort zone, but expand the varietal knowledge, which I think is what I get excited about, which is when we can do that and when we can achieve that, and that makes me really happy. It doesn't happen a lot, which is fine, but when it does happen, I'm like, yes. So
yeah. And what about having wine expectations around a cuisine that obviously is not traditionally associated with wine? Like, somebody walks in, we'll just keep slamming on Pinot Grigio. Someone comes in and like, I need a glass of Pinot Grigio.
Well,
that won't go well.
We definitely have that on the menu. And when you're talking about having a really small wine, we have like 12.
Oh, there you go.
But that's because no one, you have to,
Yeah.
and we, I think that my cuisine really goes well with beer, and so we have a bunch of different types of beer. But we do have wine as well, and we do have the go-to wines, because I would say people don't want to get out of their comfort zone, and if they do, they're not going to do it at our restaurant.
This is the place.
This is the place that we want to go and just totally just go crazy.
Do you find if someone's ordering wine, with South Asian cuisine, that they are not going to change? It's not even worth having anything different?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be ordering wine in the first place?
I feel like people will ask our servers, what do you think will go well with this and with that? And for the most part, our servers try to accommodate and give suggestions. But at the end, I think they're just like, yeah, we'll just have this. After all your spiel about what you think would be great, that we'll just go with what we feel comfortable with.
Can you still get excited about all right, I need to find a different Cabernet, like let me find something that really excites me, or is it like you're just going to keep those standards and leave?
I think again, I think it just comes back to the balance. I think for me, it's always been one for one, like one for the guest and one for me. And I think that's if you have that mentality with a wine program or a beverage program too. Like there are so many restaurants, even like restaurants that I walk into where like they have the beer selection they have, and I love beer, but I really like simple beer, and I like to have like light, crisp, like really nondescript kind of beer. Like Modelo is the beer that I choose to drink on a nightly basis. But I've been to restaurants that have opened up that have, and I don't know if it's just because it's not beverage oriented, but whoever made the beer program, it's all like super hoppy wheat beers, like rich, full-bodied, high alcohol beers. There's nothing light and crisp, and it's like a struggle for me to like order a beer. So it's super frustrating for me. You have to have options for people at both ends. And what we tried to do, even when we started with a 200 bottle list, and now we're at a 2,000 bottle list, the philosophy has always been create a wine list that will give as many people as many options that they're excited to look at or drink. So every person, at least 5 to 10 options that they would be happy to drink. I want people to feel like they wish that they could be here longer or could consume more alcohol in order to go through all this stuff. And in the end, we'll make them want to come back, and we'll make them a welcoming environment.
Thank you so much for talking about wine.
Yeah.